What is going on, Sooner Nation? Welcome back, Sooner Surge podcast for the nightly live show. Joined by Hunter tonight, as Jeremy is in the chat tonight. Jeremy is with our dad at the place that he's at, so having to do some things there and be with him. Just prayers for that whole situation for our dad as Jeremy's there with him. So Jeremy will be in the chat. If you guys want to chat with Jeremy, he'll be in there. But Hunter, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. It's freezing cold outside and going to be
colder again tomorrow.
Not colder here, at least. It's warming up to like 20 degrees. I guess that's warming up. So not as cold, but still below freezing with wind chills and another snow day here at OU. Or virtual day, that is. Sorry.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? See a lot of y'all already in the chat, as usual. Man, this is when you think about times of the year that's just kind of slow, this is one of the slowest. When you get after the Super Bowl and you're before March Madness, and if you have a basketball team like OU that's not playing well for basketball, it's really a tough situation as fans because there's not a whole lot going on. You're before spring practices start. You still got a couple of weeks till that happens, and then the basketball team's not playing good down the stretch. You have this weird thing by Joe Lunardi that OU is still in the last four in of the tournament, which is mind-boggling.
Real quick, Jay, was that updated after last?
It was on the halftime of the Arkansas game. I saw it on TV.
Okay,
but he has OU and Arkansas last four in, two of them.
Well,
yeah,
but they had that as before yesterday. It might
no, this was tonight. Oh. It was updated. It was updated tonight. It was tonight, Hunter. I watched it on TV.
Bracketology has not updated since yesterday morning at 7:30 a.m. So it was before.
This was.
Yeah, I understand, but they're going off of old data. They don't update it in the midweeks until everyone's played on Wednesday nights. So that I'm not sure why they were in bracketology after the LSU loss. I mean, that should completely knock you out, but they somehow were and would imagine bracketology updates tomorrow, and OU should not be anywhere near it. And maybe, I guess he did, Germ, but that's wild. I think that's a terrible take because, I mean, how are they going to win? Like, what game are you picking for them to win down the stretch? I mean, they need to win 3 games. And right now, I think there's a concern for them to even win 1 game. So,
yeah, Germ's going to spam that chat. Hey, Dave, thanks so much. Always. Really appreciative. Means a lot. Thank you so much. I saw Ron ask me a question. Jason, are you on the Fire Moser boat? You know, I've probably been the slowest to Fire Moser, but I'm definitely on the Fire Moser. It's 4 years now of not making the tournament. It's unacceptable. Let me find this stat. I got this stat I got to read, Hunter. So bear with me. I got to read this stat. I got it here on my phone, and I took a screenshot of it because it was mind-boggling stat. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Since Billy Tubbs became the head coach in 1980, the Sooners have had 5 different men's basketball coaches. Only Moser has missed out on the NCAA tournament more than 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it was
it's almost 45 years of coaching.
He's the first coach since the 70s pre-Tubbs to miss the tournament 3 years in a row. I think it happened 76 through 79, somewhere in that range. 77 was included. So, I mean, it's bad. And then I think it was TJ Eckert from KTUL and Tulsa Channel 8 put out last week about like some of the comparisons of hasn't happened in 62 years that they lost 3 games in a row by 18 or more points. Like, it doesn't matter what way you look at it. It's bad. The LSU loss is the worst loss of his tenure. And then it continues to get worse when you're getting blown out again against number 2 team in the country. But at this point in time, I don't know what game you can pick on their schedule for them to win down the stretch.
Yeah, and I see a Sooner Thrawn. Thank you for that. I want to also answer Sarge's question here. So Jern's with our dad at his place where he's living, and prayers as my dad's going through an awful lot, and also for Jeremy and my sister who are local there. Just a lot on them too as well. So just prayers for everybody involved with that. So Germ's in the chat, chatting it up with us. Able to be on live with us tonight on video. So remember, he missed it 3 years in Big 12, not SEC. Correct. And I saw this comment I wanted to get to. Sarge, we talked a little bit about this last night. I'm with you. I like Will Wade. Here's the thing. Sarge, what's funny is every night you're on here and you say fire Joe C. I think that's the reason why they will not go after Will Wade, and it's Joe C. In my opinion, I don't think they'll go down at that road because of Joe C.
That would be a phenomenal hire
but they won't do it, will they?
To not be the head coach and they go bring in Will Wade, who's won in the SEC before. It's just with this past, I don't imagine that would be the kind of hire that Oklahoma would make, especially the type of trouble that he got in. I would be shocked if they did it, but I think it would be a phenomenal hire. I mean, that's one of the best hires I think you can make at this point.
Right now, who do you think you could get,
Exactly. You're going to have to go down the mid-major route or an assistant route at a bigger program assistant that's not in that head coach in waiting type of deal. So, and again, right, I mean, right now you have to wait to see if they even make a move at head coach. I mean, you would have to imagine so, but for LSU, I don't know how you don't make the move right then. I mean, you really can't get much worse. But
I gotta say, Hunter, I've seen a lot on Twitter the last few days, and the amount of OU people that throw and I'm going to throw a couple names out there. The amount of OU people that I've seen say, go try to get Kelvin Sampson back or Rick Pitino. Like, what are we doing here at OU basketball? You really think these people think that? Wait. These people think those are options? No chance. Zero chance.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Why would Rick Pitino leave the number 10 team in the country where he's turned it around at St. John's? They're going to make the tournament, maybe even make a run this year.
The top 10.
The tournament. They're the number 10 team in the country. And then Kelvin Sampson, he's been at Houston now for 11 years. Yeah, you're just going to go back to a place that showed you the door? Come on now. Like, seriously. That doesn't happen.
I don't think the SEC will. I don't think the SEC would have anything to do with it.
I mean, I don't know the extent of the trouble.
Well, he's coaching right now in Division I. It doesn't matter.
But it's a different conference. I mean,
I don't think they can say a guy can come coach in the conference. Yeah, Porter, Moser, Stan, I'm with you. It's absolute laughable. And I'm not going to mention any names, but I've seen not only fans, but people that are more than fans say those names. And it's kind of wild. Like, that would not happen. It's silly. Okay. I think OU needs to lower their expectations on who they might get out for a basketball coach if Porter Moser gets the boot. They need to back it off a little bit. That's just my opinion. Because first off, let's just go down. Let's go down the list. Let's go down the positives for Oklahoma basketball. Okay, now let's go over the negatives for Oklahoma basketball. Ready? NIL.
Fan support.
Fan support. You're in the toughest conference in America. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's difficult place.
It's one of the most difficult places to win in Power 4 basketball.
Yeah, because and I'm not saying the guy can't come. I'm not saying the guy can't come and win. I'm just saying it's tough.
Yes, it's going to be very tough. Like, it's going to be, I think, for them to come in and have immediate. What kind of success are you talking? Are you just talking making the tournament, or making the tournament and winning a game or two, maybe making it
for OU?
Yeah,
I think a coach could come in here and make the tournament and make a run every few years, like Sweet 16. I think a coach can do that with OU. I just think when people are throwing names out there like Kelvin Sampson and Rick Pitino, who are guys that go to national championships and Final Fours, there is not one iota in their body, in my opinion, that would want them to. Why would they want to come to Oklahoma?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't see it unless I'm missing something.
Head coach would want to go to OU right now because, I mean, NIL is the single most important thing in college basketball in this era. You have to be competitive in the NIL market to be able to put together a team that can make the tournament and it could make a run in the tournament. And Oklahoma's NIL is not any good. I mean, it's just not. Like, they have a couple of good players right now, and that's it. And then the fan support on top of it. The fans have the mentality of if they'll show up maybe if they have a good product.
Yeah. Hey, let me get to
maybe in it.
Yeah, let me get to a couple of these. I'm going to do a lightning on a few of these questions here. 918, Chris Crutchfield, most likely candidate, question mark. And if so, will that excite the fans or wait and win situation? Here's what I'll say. The Chris Crutchfield, I think, would be a candidate. He's at Omaha. They're doing well. Chris Crutchfield does a few things for me, and that's the fact that he can recruit. And I think him and Trae Young have a pretty good relationship. Yeah. So maybe that could help. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But I don't think it does a whole lot for the fans, in my opinion. Because here's what the fans want. The fans want a big-time hire, and it's just not going to happen.
And if you're getting into the weeds of the casual basketball fan, they're probably not going to know who Chris Crutchfield is to make any sort of a difference on if they're going to buy into the program or not. So,
hey, couldn't hurt, Daniel. Couldn't hurt with the shoes. Worst basketball arena. Trey Lung would love Crutchfield. Exactly. Buddy Hield was a Crutchfield recruited Buddy Hield, if I'm not mistaken. The guy can recruit, and I mean, it's Omaha, but he's winning there. I think he's a pretty energetic guy. I will say this: I believe he's winning at Omaha. I don't know how many they've won in a row if they lost now, but I think his two best players are Oklahoma City guys. I don't know if you can pull a roster up or not, but I'm pretty sure his two best players in Omaha are Oklahoma City high school products. The guy can recruit. That's one thing about it. I think. And there's the guy at Arkansas State. I think Porter Moser stand by to mention him yesterday. I know there's a lot of people that really like him if you're going to take a guy from like a mid-major. But I think that's kind of where you're looking if you're not going to go after Will Wade. I don't think you're looking any higher than anything like that, in my opinion. KB Longhorn, it was built, and talking about Lloyd Noble here, built in the 70s. Haven't been the best. The renovations, it's a dump and looks like a Cold War bunker, not to mention overpriced. Well, I don't know about the beers, but the tickets are as cheap as you can get. I know that.
Yeah,
it's not a very loud arena. It's not a very loud arena. It's not built for like being loud.
It's not built for sound, and it also is very difficult to be loud when it's less than halfway full just about every night. And Saturday, man.
Yeah. Hey, Saturday. real quick. Gray God. I was talking with somebody about this today. I am not a fan of it either. I think a lot of these mid-major guys, if you go hire them, it's pretty much what you just did with Porter Moser, except you got to hope that they work out and Porter Moser did it.
Exactly. It's the same thing.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that's probably what you're going to get unless you go after a guy like Will Wade and just go all in. Because the rest of the guys, I just don't know if you even have a shot.
And real quick, back to Omaha. Markel Sutton is their best player, senior forward, averaging 18 points a game from Rogers High School in Tulsa. So, Oklahoma guy.
Yeah.
This is their best player.
Yeah.
And
hey,
was on staff throughout the entire Buddy Hield era and Trae Young as well as an assistant. So,
and I believe Crutchfield is his son on that team, or is he maybe not now? Maybe not. Maybe he's older than that. But hey, the Skylar's right about this in the sense that if you look at Porter Moser, there's been issues, but probably the biggest issue has been guys like Otega Owe, Miles Uzan. You could go down the list. Brady, I mean, keep going down the list of guys that have left. But here's the thing. I know a lot of people say that and say that's the reason. Here's the thing. It's not just OU. That's all of basketball. People leave if you don't pay them up. You got to pay up. It's just like football. You want to keep guys on your team, you got to pay up. If OU didn't have money in NIL and football, RMT would not be at OU. He would be somewhere else. If you didn't have money, Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman would not have come back. So you got to have NIL money. You got to have NIL money in basketball.
Yeah.
Let's get to spring game talks, Hunter.
Yeah. I was watching a story from a few months ago today, but Mike Gundy made a comment of like, you have to re-recruit your entire roster every year. And that's the case in every single sport. If they're draft eligible in draft eligible sports, to prevent them from going pro when they can, or prevent them from going to the transfer portal. But yeah, moving on to football, USC canceled their spring game, gonna do some kind of fan event with former players instead of an actual spring game. Now the third school in the Big Ten to do so, canceling spring game. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on it? I actually don't mind it. Spring games are whatever at this point. Most of the time they're not even playing real football, so why does it matter?
Real quick, I'm going to get the spring game. I got to answer Greg on 918 and a few others. I would rather have an assistant than a mid. I'd rather have a top assistant. That's just my opinion. Totally off subject. Okay, let's get the spring game. Last few spring games I've been to, blah. I don't think they're very entertaining. I'm not a huge fan of them. Okay, but here's what I'll say. If you're going to do away with the spring game and still have the fan interaction or whatever, that's kind of to me too. To me, it's just like, just use that Saturday and maybe have your biggest scrimmage of the year without fans there. Do something that's going to help. Having fans come for a little skill thing. I don't.
They're going to be doing scrimmages still, and maybe even an extra one to replace it. And it's just not going to have cameras. I think honestly, at this point, just have a fan event like autograph session. They do the Meet the Sooners right before the season. Instead of just doing it then in August, do it in April as well. One in the spring and one in the summer, fall time. I just can't do Oklahoma drill, Germ.
They don't even do that in practice. Hey, here's the thing though, Hunter. What's it do to recruit? What's it do to recruiting that weekend?
That is the one.
That's the big deal
of the spring game, is the recruiting aspect of it.
And what about this, Hunter? This is a great question. The money. How much do they lose revenue-wise by not doing it?
I mean, if you want to do a rough estimate of the math, I mean,
what do you think? 50,000 show up for a spring game? 50?
It's probably what they've averaged over the last 3 years at OU, at least.
Well, times what, about $7 a ticket, $10 a ticket? Let's just go $10 a ticket.
Base was the cheapest it ever was. I believe it's $10.
Okay, so just do that. 50 times 10. There's your number for that, just off no concession stands and everything else. I mean, it's a good chunk of money.
Yeah, it's a good profit area for, I mean, especially when you're looking at it in the spring season. I mean, at that point when basketball's over, which doesn't really matter to you, no one goes to the games, but you're into the spring sports that's usually across the country is your lowest attended sports. Those are your non-revenue generating sports. At OU, softball does very well attendance-wise, but on the baseball side of things, it's the worst in the conference right now, and it's probably not getting any better anytime soon. So
I know this would never happen, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Softball does a battle series.
Correct.
And they play each other, and then they scrimmage a couple of weak teams. You know, they do these scrimmages in the spring game. I mean, in the spring for practices. It would never happen, but battle series and televise it scrimmages. It would never happen at football. I'm just saying stuff like that where you're actually having competition. Those battle series for softball is great to watch because they're having good competition. You don't get good competition in the spring game. That's part of the problem.
Part of the issue with football, with how high contact it is. Like, I mean, you had that play from Michael Boganowski Jr. last year, and that was just about it in terms of physicality and a kind of play that you would see probably in a regular football game. And if they were to go down the route of scheduling someone else, that'd be great. It's just
I'd be all in for that, Mark.
I think it's more so right now when you're seeing Matt Rule come out and say what he is about the tampering side of it. Now other teams are starting to follow suit with it. It would be the same deal if they actually played against another team, if not even elevated even more, because a lot more people are going to be watching that game in terms of that team's on their schedule and anything like that. And it's more competitive than your just spring game scrimmage. Like, you think tampering's bad now, it would be way worse with all of that.
I'm not sold on this tampering stuff on spring stuff.
I think it's going to happen.
I think it's an excuse to get out of the spring game, Hunter.
Maybe so, Jay. Maybe
people know who the good players are on the teams, and the players know if they're not going to play. I mean, I think it's an excuse to say I don't want to play a spring game at my school. That's all that is, in my opinion. I don't know. I just think the days of spring games probably are going away. But at the same time, I think if you look over the last 10 years, spring games have kind of gone away. They're there, but there's not a whole lot you're going to get from them. I mean, other than a quarterback, you can see if he's throwing the ball well, but he's not doing anything. If anybody gets within 5 feet, the whistle blows. Even we saw many times in spring game where a guy takes off running for a touchdown where they say he was down because somebody was
Jackson Arnold.
I mean, it's just what is this? I mean, and I'm not a big fan. I see a lot of people talking about skill challenges. I think Jeremy even put it in there. I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff.
To the Pro Bowl, do you guys enjoy watching the Pro Bowl skill challenges right now? I don't think so. I mean,
the only way you can fix spring games is to play other universities. That's the only way.
It's not going to.
It won't happen. It won't happen. So I just think those days are kind of over. It seems like it anyway, based on other people. Yeah, alumni. You could just have the coaching staff. That's right. Spring games are better than bowls because you don't even have your team. Are better than bowls. Oh, for bowl games because you don't have your team. I understand that. Yeah, I think Ole Miss did that. I'm just personally not a big fan. I'm not going to drive 4 hours to go watch guys do a skills challenge. I'm not doing it.
If I live in the city of where the game's being played, then yeah, I would go to it. But if you have any sort of travel over 30 minutes to get there, why would you go to that? Like, one, it's going to be streamed at that point. Two, like, come on, it's a skill challenge. Like,
to me, if you're OU,
an interaction out of it, which maybe they could. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, Hunter, if you're OU, because we're talking about OU here. If you're Oklahoma, I think the best thing for OU, if you're going to do away with the spring game, is this: you keep the autograph day you have already. You already have that. You use the Saturday. That you would have for the spring game to have your biggest spring scrimmage as a team with no fans, and really see where you're at as a team, and use it as a way to get better instead of it's the way it's used now. You're not seeing a whole lot, so use it as an extra scrimmage, but a real scrimmage. I mean, big time scrimmage without all this other stuff. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, this whole skill stuff on another Saturday, I don't know. But that's just my opinion.
Be interested if they would add another scrimmage or not. Because, I mean, the spring game is pretty light in terms of compared to, like, from what Daniel Brooks has said in the chat before, compared to the actual other scrimmages that they do with no cameras in private during the spring. You're getting a lot more out of it. So I wonder if it would just be a complete nix-it type of deal because you only want to do so much contact and you're only allowed to do so many practices and so many scrimmages. So there's also that.
Yeah, and hey, I think a lot of people would be for this Sooner Cowboys. I just don't think it'll ever happen. Hunter, let's drop that phone line in here. Drop the phone line if you'd like to call in, check it out. Also, check out the Fan Stop, www.thefanstop.com. Code SURGE, get 10% off your first 3 months of the Shirt of the Month Club. As you know, I think tomorrow's the deadline if you want that St. Patrick's Day shirt. The green St. Patrick's Day OU shirt. Tomorrow's the last day. You need to be signed up by tomorrow to get that. There it is right there. It's a great looking shirt. I'm always looking for something green to wear on St. Patrick's Day every year. I know what I'm wearing this year, and it's that. So Arkansas in a dogfight with Auburn at Auburn. Guys, if Arkansas makes a tournament, I wouldn't want to play them. That team's got talent. And John Calipari kind of getting them playing well after they lost their best player and they're playing better. Imagine that.
Calipari might find a way to screw it up in the tournament. Come on now.
We'll see. Hey, let's get to Sooner Thrawn. What's up, Sooner Thrawn?
Gentlemen, how are y'all?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
We're just trying to stay warm. It's 20 down in Dallas, but we'll make it. No weather.
It's cold. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and my daughter really liked the Arkansas campus. That's a beautiful campus.
It is a beautiful. It's hilly, a lot of uphill walks and stuff, but it's nice.
Yeah, I'd never been there, but it's very nice and it's very concise. How it's to me, it's a much more better organized campus than a lot of the college campuses.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But yeah, and they also, the nice thing about them is they reward grades for out of state a lot better than a lot of schools. So it's actually it's very much a possibility. She's still waiting on a few test scores to come.
And they're one of the few schools that they count Texas and Oklahoma as an in-state tuition, I believe.
Yeah, they did. That's what I was talking about. It's not a guarantee thing. It's if you have like a 3.6 or higher, then you can get 80% back. If you have a 3.2, you get, I believe it's 60, which is way better than most out of state. So
correct.
I was going to go back to the basketball coaches. Now let me ask you a question. 4 months ago, would you have ever thought Bill Belichick would be talking to the University of North Carolina?
No.
Well, see, that's my point. The only reason why I'm saying throw money at like a guy like Rick Pitino is if you do what they did for Belichick. Because North Carolina went from like 3 million NIL to like 15, and they did all these things. Now, that's the only way he'd do it. And granted, that's if we would do it. Maybe we will, maybe we would. But that's how you'd have to. If you did something like that, I believe a guy like that would have interest. Just like Belichick would have never even talked to North Carolina. But that's because
I see where you're coming. I see where you're coming from. I think I'm hesitant because of Joe C. I don't think he would do it. I don't think he would throw that much money at a guy.
I understand, but I'm saying the all-in thing, and unfortunately, Joe C. If he's not like that, then I've always defended him, but I think he needs to retire. I mean, we don't need to have him anymore because he hit really lucky on Bob Stoops. He didn't hire Patty, and I'll give him credit. Goodwin and Sampson. Capel, Capel got lucky because he had Blake Griffin for 2 years and then he sucked. I will think that Kruger was a good hire, and then I would say the women's the basketball coach was pretty good, but he didn't hire Sherry. So
I
think the overlying issue with all of that Sooner Thrawn is they just don't have the money to pay for a Rick Pitino and to generate enough of an NIL program to do what North Carolina did in the football.
Well, how did Carolina go from 3 million to 20 million? I did not know that they don't have it. I'm saying I agree that they don't have it right now, but did you think North Carolina was going to have that much? That package is crazy what they offer.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a game changer. I was not expecting that either. So
the other one, the one I wanted to bring up is the guy, and this guy is. This team is going to be a lot of trouble for people in the tournament. The Drake head coach, what he was he's like the 3-time Division II national champion, and he went to Drake because the Drake guy went to West Virginia. what he did, he took 10 players from his national championship team all to Drake. They were picked as like 8th in the conference. They're first in the conference. They're like 23-2. So why not go after a guy like that? That guy obviously knows how to, for a program like OU, you're not going to get the best players. You got all these million different portal people. He's able to bring all of his players. Wouldn't that give us a better chance at least to have some continuity? I mean,
that's another, yeah.
That's a guy that might be someone that would listen to us because you wouldn't have to pay him near as much. And he obviously knows what he's doing. Right. And we saw with programs, and this is the problem with Oklahoma, is OU's like a lot of these schools. They're just kind of in the middle. They're pretty good, but not great. But we saw 2 years ago, those lower tier programs like a Drake, they get 2 or 3 years of like just guys that want to play. They don't care if they're playing a lot. They don't need a lot of NIL. And we saw Florida International and San Diego State go to the Final Four because they had guys that had played together for like 2 years, and they didn't care about, they weren't worrying about them leaving to go to their schools and all this stuff. Because the problem is the big wigs, they've been doing basically the portal for 15 years, the one and done teams like Duke and them. So they know how all that works. So they're getting all the best players. But OU never had to do that. They had guys that would stay. So you have these guys coming to OU that, you know, they're on the bench a little bit after a year or two. I don't want to just sit on the bench and not win much. I'll go down to San Diego State. I'll go down to Florida International. And then all of a sudden, in every few years, one of those teams are going to make a great run. So if you had a guy like the Drake who brings his players with him, they're already playing for him. That to me sounds like a team that you could actually possibly a guy that would have interest and actually make us much better the very first year.
Hey, good point, Sooner Thrawn. I mean, that's a good name to look at. So appreciate you calling in, man.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, man. We'll get to the next caller here. We got Fit with Fry on the line. What's up, Fit?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hope you guys are doing amazing this evening. And
how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. But I just got one thing that Joe C, the only thing that he should think about with the football program. You know what it is?
What's that?
How much money does it cost to win a national championship? How much money? They said that Ohio State spent $35 million on their roster and that they were in the hole. But guess what? Did they get out of the hole real quick when they won that natty? They sure did. That TV money that comes in, you got to think. If you're in the SEC championship game, you're in the national championship game, you're in these big playoff games, how much revenue are you getting? What kind of TV deal is that? If we're thinking about money, we're not going to win. We got to start thinking our roster. How much do we need? 30 million? Come to the citizens. Say, hey, we need 35 million. Ohio State's playing with 35 million. Say, hey, I need every single Sooner fan in the state of Oklahoma to donate $20 a month. Come on, y'all. We could do it. We could do it. We could do it. We spend $23 a month on freaking Netflix and a bunch of BS. We want to have the best football program. We got to get serious. And the money has to be serious. It has to be some serious cash.
You do have to pay. Here's the thing. Somebody said it last night, Fit. It's time Oklahoma starts prioritizing OU football and OU men's basketball. They have to. It's the two revenue-making sports. You have to prioritize it. I think some people are saying closer to 2025, which I think so too. But I see your point, Fit.
Then let's come up with 35 and let's go get the big players. Let's say, hey, let's get 35 million. They're coming up with 25 million. We need to overdo it. We're OU. Like Barry Switzer said, they talk about winning. We invented it. And we need to get back to that mentality, no matter what, a no matter what mentality. These guys, we can't play around. We're going to fall into, they talk about Nebraska. They talk about, if we become that, I might have to, the day we become what Nebraska became, it can't happen. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think this year coming up, I think Brent running the defense is the best thing that can happen. We spent some good money on John Mateer and getting the new system in. I think that we can win 9-10 games this year. But
you know, hey, you know what, Fit? Here's the thing. I think I agree, and I'm on board with this. Let's go spend the money. But I think there's a lot of fans they're going to wait and see if Brent is going to do it before they feel like, ooh, I think there's a lot of people that are like hesitant. That's just my opinion. I think a lot of fans are like,
you're going to get passed up. We're going to be, you're going to be at the bottom. We got a coach right now. If he's the coach, we got to believe in him. It doesn't matter. I hated when Brent used to be laughing after the losses. I hated that to death, but he's our coach, and we got to give the money now. We can't play around and wait 3-4 seasons. 3-4 seasons, you're going to be in the dumps. You bring in a new coaching staff, how many years is it going to take us to recover? People don't understand when you bring in that new coaching staff, all the players that are going to leave, all the stuff that they have to hire new people. Joe C has to understand right now. He needs to go straight to the people of Oklahoma and say, we can't play around. I need each and every single one of you guys to start contributing to this program. We have something on our website where we could give $20 a month. We can give $30 a month. Be a big contributor. Give $50 a month.
They're already doing that. I mean,
but he's not coming out and talking about it. I don't hear Brent Venables talking about it. I don't hear him saying in the press conferences, these guys are spending $30 million. Oklahoma, stand up. Let's get our money together.
I don't think the route of getting the average fan to pay X amount of money a month is going to
everything work. Is paying X amount of money a month. If we want to put the best product on the field, let's do it. Let's figure it out.
I understand what you're saying. I completely get.
What about getting Quick Trip to donate or something like that? Some of these companies.
A realistic side of it, Quick Trip will never.
But man, when you start spending money, you get invested in the program. You start saying, hey, I'm showing up to the games. You start telling the students, hey, forget about getting these free tickets. You're paying $50 a ticket. They start showing up a lot more rowdy. Because if you don't pay for it, you don't play for it. That's it. We need to be paying. Everybody needs to pay. Everybody needs to pay. If we love football, let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's everybody get a little bit and more invested. Let's buy another jersey. Get our name put on it. I'm not big on the name on the back of the jersey. I'll put my own name on it. But you know what? We have to get so serious. And if we don't, we're going to be down there with, they're talking about Vanderbilt. We might be below them. You never know. You might be the lowest Mississippi State. You might become that. Oklahoma State might overtake us. You never know. If you play around, especially being in the SEC with this NIL deal, you're not gonna make it. These sharks are gonna eat you up. Georgia, I'm in Florida right now. I guarantee you, these guys are giving money. Everywhere I go, I see Florida hoodies. These guys are excited about the team they got coming. They're giving. We gotta be serious about it. We gotta be serious. I guarantee I'm gonna go find everything that I possibly can and give to it. And that's it. We gotta get serious.
Hey, great call, Fit. Love it, man. Love the passion, bro. Love the passion. Love the passion. You know what? He said the best. I loved. I got to quote this. This is Fit with Fry right here. If you don't pay for it, you don't. If you don't pay for it, you don't play for it. That's great stuff, Fit.
Hey, the email yesterday from Joe C included ways.
Yeah, got it. I got it.
The NIL area of the thing. I think in terms of having a championship team, it's gonna have to be majority from big donors. I don't think enough average fans are gonna continue. And then Jay, you were mentioning it too of the hesitancy. I think there's gonna be, you're already seeing that in general at OU. I think it's gonna be a lot more even right now of why should I give money if this doesn't work out? And then you're basically rebuilding because you would be having an entire new roster.
Well, let me throw something out there, okay? I'm going to tell you something. Buddy of mine, I know, his family has season tickets to Arkansas basketball. Arkansas basketball is like OU football in a way. You can't get tickets. They sell out every game no matter their record, okay? So it's a good comparison. The Arkansas season tickets for basketball that they've had years of, next year they got an email. They're going up. And I'm not talking about going up by a little bit, Hunter. I'm talking about going up by bukus of money if they want to keep their tickets.
What percent? Like rough?
About $20,000.
Oh, yeah? For season
For the
tickets?
same seats. It's a wild number. Hunter, listen, all I'm saying is this. Listen.
Okay, what kind of
seats? They're great seats. You have to donate to the school and the tickets. It's a little bit of both, okay? But because part of donating to the school, you get the season tickets too. Yeah. So I don't know the breakdown. I'm just saying it's going up a lot. And you know why? Because they're trying to get NIL money for basketball, Hunter. So football, I'm surprised OU hasn't went that route at all on season tickets. Aren't you a little bit?
It was Tennessee, I think last year announced they were
Yes.
doing it.
But aren't you kind of surprised they haven't?
I think that's going to be something that happens soon across the board in college athletics. Maybe I'm wrong. I think with OU, maybe the hesitancy is they just raised the prices because it was the SEC, and then everything getting moved around with all of the rules for student sections in the SEC. You can't have your student sections where they were in the Big 12. So that kind of moved around some season ticket holder seats and all of that. So maybe it takes a little bit more time, but I wouldn't be shocked if that is something that would happen soon.
Hey, I also saw Germ put it in here. I talked about it the other day. You had – I would love this if you went and tried to get Kelvin Sampson, Kelvin's son from Houston. Don't know if you could get him, or Hollis Price off of the Houston staff. Bring him in for the head coach, and then go get Eduardo Nahara to be the basketball GM of operations. They have it for football. Get one for basketball. He would be great at something like that. You need somebody like that in basketball too. If you want to say we're playing the game, man, we are playing the game. But here's the issue, and I see a lot of people in the chat talking about it. And this was about the money stuff. I see a lot of people saying, I don't trust Joe C to allocate the money correctly. Or I don't trust, maybe I'm just paying for buyouts for coaches. You see a lot in that chat. I'm just reading what I've seen in the chat. So there's a lot of people.
Buyouts.
I know they are saying, I know, but I'm just saying people are hesitant. So, and Porter Moser saying whatever head coach comes in next has to get Austin Reeves, Buddy Hield to start doing it. You have to get money starting pouring in. And, that's a great point with the ex-players. You also have businesses, companies. I mean, the Texas Tech guru just left or whatever, but he donated a bunch where they were able to get some players in the portal in softball and in football. Yeah, he just sold his business, but
$4 billion.
But it's going to come from everywhere. It's going to come from fans. It's going to come from past players. It's going to come from businesses. All of it
will have to be involved. No, not necessarily. I don't agree with needing to be, but they will. That's just the way that it's set up. I mean, your average fan is gonna be contributing. That's how all of these collectives have set it up. I just don't think that they need to be the majority. I don't think that that's the right way, because I think it's too difficult to ensure that you're getting all of that money. I mean, what are the terms and conditions and all of it? I mean, is it guaranteed every month? No, it's you do it, but you can cancel it at any time. So fans can easily just cancel it. I think a lot of the money would need to be from the big donors, where it's a very large check out one portion of time.
And I agree with this comment. Money isn't going to win you championships alone. You got to have all of it. You got to have coaching. You got to have development. You got to have recruiting. You got to have money. But you definitely, in my opinion, you're not winning something without money. You got to have it. In my opinion, basketball and football, you're going to have a pretty good NIL game to win. It's not the all. You got to have it, and that's it. You got to have everything else. But and Sunathon says, be curious to know if the Arkansas ticket are willing to pay that major increase. Well, the deal is they are, but the deal is you can move your seats to higher up and pay less. So you can still keep the season tickets, but you're going to be – so they're really – I think there's going to be more schools start to do this, specifically the schools that are whatever sport it is that you really are all in on. At OU, it's football. They sell out. It doesn't matter right now. So I think that would be – you see more schools doing it in those types of sports where they're going to be always all in on. First step in the process.
At a good point to do something like that with excitement around the program, even though they might be a little bit away. But you're bringing.
Well, the Arkansas has Tyson Chicken. They have
Correct.
they have Tyson Chicken, a big
Not if I'm
donor. They have Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart as well. So they have donors too. That's what I'm saying when I mentioned Quick Trip, Hunter. It's like somebody mentioned Love's on here. You have Love's Field already for softball.
I think there'd be a better chance of it being Love's than Quick Trip. I think Quick Trip operates in too many states that I don't think they would pick a particular college in that sort of deal. I mean, you're seeing them right now. They have an MLB partnership with the Kansas City Royals. I think professional sports is the only way that they're going to go. I think college is too spread out for them to pick which one they're going to go to.
Correct. And you're right about this. Tyson does love basketball more than football. And also Purple, you're right on this. The athletic side of the Walmart family, they are more towards Missouri. The other side is more here in Northwest Arkansas is more for the arts, more for other things than they are pushing money into the football program, from what I can tell. I'm not an expert. And also, don't quote me exact quotes on the amount of dollars it was for the Arkansas season ticket holders. I'm just saying it went up quite a bit from what I was told. So, but Dallas has thrown a lot of money around. Yet, what was Switzer's title year for the Cowboys? 1994 was the title year. What happened to all the money, all the oil money? Yeah, I don't know. But I don't think OU's broke, specifically in football I'm talking. But
Yeah.
in basketball, they're pretty far off.
Basketball is where it's really an issue. And Porter Moser Stan, founder of Quick Trip, went to OU. So, but again, I don't think they're really he's now passed away. But I don't think that they are going to get tied up in the determining what school that they're going to show allegiance to. They try to stay out of that kind of stuff, from what I can gather.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't land Fasusi. They don't land Mateer if they were broke. And maybe this is a great thing by KB, or OU not broke, just not willing, maybe in some aspects.
I don't think that's the case in basketball. I think it's just they don't have the money there. They don't.
I agree.
It's not unlimited. And football, maybe you can say that at times, but even then, like, I mean, you were just talking about Fasusi, Mateer, some of the other guys that they landed. I mean, R. Mason Thomas, yeah, you mentioned him earlier. He wasn't cheap. I mean, they had to pay a lot of money to get him to come back.
Hey, and Jen says, I don't think fans will be on much of a ticket price bump. I think it would depend on when you did the price bump. If it's coming off a really good year, like Tennessee just did it, and they did it at a good time.
If you're doing it off of a losing season, it's going to be a lot harder to do. But it's also, when you're doing it with season tickets, you're able to almost play into it to where you're a little bit more successful, because I mean, a lot of those seats in question, you can't just, those aren't entry level season ticket seats. They're not. You had to have them for so long. It's a long process to be able to get to that category of season tickets. So,
and you don't want to lose them if you have them. That's the thing.
You don't want to lose them. They'll be upset about it, but they're still probably going to play it because they do not want to lose their seats.
Yeah. So, well, man, it's been fun tonight, Hunter. Good conversation from the chat as always. You guys kill it every night over there in the chat. You really do. You bring up great topics. You have great opinions. We had some great callers tonight. Sooner Thrawn, Fit with Fry, got me pumped up tonight. I'm excited. Football's around the corner. I guess 2 weeks away from spring practice, Hunter, something like that, close. So appreciate all you guys joining us as you always do. Thank you so much. It's been fun. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Make sure you join us tomorrow night, 9:30. Tomorrow, Thursday? I've lost track, man.
Yeah.
This weather.
Thursday.
Tomorrow's Thursday. So, yeah, join us tomorrow night. Also, check out the Fan Stop. thefanstop.com. Check it out. Everybody, have a great night.